Guys, thanks for inviting me to the official Harley-Davidson kickoff meeting. Now, we've all been involved with new products before, and maybe every single time it hasn't been, quite perfect. I think you know what I mean. But this time it's going to be different. Uh-oh, here it comes.
Harley sales are down. Quarter after quarter after quarter after quarter, they're bleeding out. Somehow, the orange-blooded will tell you this is not as catastrophic as it looks. Earnings per share are up, outperforming the competition. Bullshit. Harley's hoarding shares, like a toilet paper prepper with diarrhea. Say EPS was $1.50 in 2019, which it was. They had 154.3 million outstanding shares, so about $230 million to pay out. But now the board has connived to buy back 18.2 million of these. So the pie might only be split 136 million ways for $1.69 per share. Oh hey, I just made Harley's dividends do a 5-year jump. Never mind that the company didn't actually earn anything. Never mind that it conveniently benefits board members who are paid by share performance. And certainly never mind that it's an artificial sweetener for the year-end books, which you'd only want to get away with once. Or twice. Or 3 times. Or 4, or...
It's the craziest thing I've ever seen.
See, buybacks are financed with debt, or the otherwise draining of cash reserves. Reserves that are desperately needed should the economy dry up. Say, I don't know, during a pandemic? All Harley has been building is a taller and taller cliff to ride off.
What's up with Harley-Davidson?
Harley's declines are certainly worse than the overall U.S. industry, but motorcycle sales in general are down this year as well.
Is Harley down because motorcycling is down? U.S. sales indeed went flaccid after the Great Recession. Weird thing though, they stayed limp. Meanwhile, the economy took Viagra, automotive sales hit the rebound, even within the two-wheeled segment, off-road and small displacement bikes are virile. So it's really only big highway bikes that stayed lame. And overpricing doesn't seem to contribute, as BMW, Ducati, Triumph, KTM are all up. So who to blame for this aberration? Who accounts for the majority of large highway motorcycles sold in America? It isn't that the poor motorcycle industry is dragging Harley down, it's that poor Harley sales are dragging the industry down. So yes, Harley-Davidson is flatlined, unresponsive, damn near dead. Why? Most people blame me, millennial. Harley's selling their soul to make smaller, cheaper, greener bikes, and you still ain't buying them. Blah blah, wah wah. The truth is that Harley killed themselves. It wasn't me that stood by and let it happen, because that poison was ingested 40 years ago. Our 1903 Icon didn't really iconify until World War II. Harley sent 62,000 motorcycles up Hitler's ass, most of which came home as battered as the troops that rode them. Veterans could buy their ex-army bikes for cheap, chop off the foobarred stuff, go AWOL on suburban life, and take their PTSD on the road. Hence, choppers. Harley became synonymous with wild, roaming outcasts, a counterculture. But counterculture belies the other half. And while Peter Fonda's gumming around on his hog, Sister Jane is in Hanoi hugging the Viet Cong. Well, I couldn't write a better personification of America. As Harley solidified their image of the biker, individualistic, tricolored, and violent, they left the rest of the market wide open, communal, bright-colored, peace-loving.
You'll have a lot of fun riding a Honda. It can hold 45 miles an hour all day without complaining. And you can run around all day on a nickel's worth of gas. You must admit, you meet the nicest people on a Honda. World's biggest seller.
Ooh, while Harley's introducing bikers that fart and punch you in the teeth, Honda comes along with women and children and tennis players? Ads written in multiple languages, ads shown at the Academy Awards. Never before had a company really sold bikes to non-bikers.
Of course, you put more in than you get out. But by replacing muscle power with horsepower, you can ride a Honda.
Eventually comes our critical moment. Harley runs to Ronald Reagan crying, "Save us! We're a great made-in-America company. Protect us!"
You asked us to give you breathing room so you could finish getting into shape to meet unexpectedly strong foreign competition.
That breathing room amounts to a 49% tariff on imported bikes over 750 cc's. It fences off Harley's core market, keeps it uncontested. Remember this. Reagan's protection sparks an upward trend. By 2006, as Harley's buyer reaches peak purchasing age, the company nets over $1 billion in profit. But time is a relentless bitch. If the average Harley rider was 43 in 1999, and 46 in 2004, and 48 in 2008, well, where are they now? Out to pasture? Harley conspicuously stopped releasing these numbers, so all we know for sure is that one of their best-selling models is a giant mobility scooter.
Hey guys, I'm on my way to Houston. Anything you want me to tell them? Harley! Harley! Harley!
I don't care how faithful your faithful are, senior citizens statistically buy few bikes, and even fewer once they're dead. So in 2008, when the recession hits, Harley releases their Parachute, the XR 1200. A retro-modern design to seduce younger riders, styled after the winningest bike in history, the XR 750 Flat Tracker Legend. It rides phenomenally, it prices accessibly at $10K, and no one bought it. Well, this is an Indian FTR with better heritage and timing. It's a Ducati Scrambler 7 years before the Scrambler. And Harley preempted the biggest hipster cash cows in motorcycling, but for them, it was just a cow? Unsold and quietly discontinued. Remember when Honda offered a challenge for Harley to diversify their image? And instead, Harley doubled down on their hill to die on? While Wild Ones age into wild hogs, a parody of their former selves, silly dad playing the rebel. One-dimensional branding is short-sighted because what's cool to the previous generation isn't just not cool to the next, it's actively uncool. Brand loyalty belies brand prejudice. Tomorrow's customers will look at a brilliant motorcycle and say, "Okay, boomer."
Just look at the POS on the wall. We've got 50 different pieces to use.
Wasn't the whole emphasis with Harley, I thought that we were no longer in the United States, their largest market. The emphasis was on Europe. Does this issue of baby boomers versus younger people apply overseas?
Well, never mind the branding bed Harley made 40 years ago. What's important to international sales is how they made it.
Put my bet on you and on America.
Tariffs. Remember this? And by seeking Reagan's help, Harley set a fatal precedent, and that of a national treasure worth protecting.
Another move from U.S. President Donald Trump that antagonizes his trading partners. This time, he targeted the global steel and aluminum industries.
So when Trump taxes imported steel and aluminum, the EU responds by kicking America in the family jewels. Kentucky bourbon, Levi's jeans, and a littler company that had overdrawn attention to itself, Harley-Davidson. Only whiskey and denim don't require much metal, motorcycles do. So now Harley is paying bigger money to make bikes that sell for smaller margins overseas. Eating 2200 on every EU bike is untenable, so HD does what most companies do, ramp up production in Brazil, India, and Thailand so international models can dodge international taxes. But hold on, well, Harley-Davidson is not most companies. Harley-Davidson decided to be a made-in-America sweetheart of the US government. So naturally,
the people that ride Harleys are not happy with Harley-Davidson, and I wouldn't be either.
Build us beautiful motorcycles in the USA, please, okay? Don't get cute with us.
He's not wrong. If my tax dollars built Harley a house to live in, I'd be pissed when they moved out too.
Were you surprised by President Trump's reaction, the anger?
As a business, we just deal with what we have to deal with. We are not a political organization. We've worked very hard to be apolitical in how we approach our business and our consumers.
Oh, that is getting cute. And the only reason Trump's calls to boycott aren't empty is because they fulfill your deal with the devil, Harley. Sell your soul for exclusive access to a target market at the neglect of other markets. And when you finally need new riders, internationals, guess what it costs? Harley-Davidson is really dying, a long-term side effect of that pill they took in 1983. The aftertaste is sweetly ironic, because Harley's last resort was their first opportunity. Do what Honda did to them, target non-bikers.
And we're creating more new products that are easier to ride than a bicycle. Just twist the throttle and go.
Live wires point to electric bicycles, point to new riders. Dozens of clothing stores opened in Asia point to a Tmall storefront, point to new riders. Placements under Scarlett Johansson point to a new rider academy for women, point to new riders. The More Roads to Harley initiative brazenly shifts the company aim from building great motorcycles to building committed riders. That's the plan? No, Marketing 101 says avoid multiple challenges. Selling more existing riders on Harleys is possible. Selling non-riders on motorcycling, then selling them on Harleys? Well...
The person tasked with solving these issues is Harley's CEO, Matt Levatich.
He has the most difficult job in the world.
It's one thing for Honda to do it, but Harley, with their practiced ignorance of all things small and cheap, it's no wonder Levatich described the project as a long march. The name borrowed from that famous retreat, where the Red Army fled with 100,000 soldiers and made it home with fewer than 7,000. What fraction of Harley-Davidson will survive? Levatich was just sacked with 11 million retirement gifts. How many salaries will that erase? Will HD disappear as a brand? Probably not. As a motorcycle, maybe. It's 40 years too late for these long paths of retreat, these now paths of doom. I think Harley's best hope is to accept that their good run has waned into a good night. And focus back on cruisers and rage with your customers against the dying of the light. And there is hope. And HD's replacement CEO is a rogue who took command, immediately de-emphasized more roads, then axed his own salary until the gang finds its roots. If the Easy Riders showed up now, that's exactly what they'd do.
This is our highway, and we're gonna defend our highway!
Wrong, Jack. Why do you think I don't wear the colors, Jack? Why do you think I ride alone? You don't know about it anymore. But I think you all ought to get back on your bikes and go out and ride the highway until you remember what riding's all about. Okay, Pop. Takes after his mom.